I have a friend, whom I'll call Ethan, a 25-year-old guy who's been incredibly unlucky in romance for as long as I've known him. Despite his struggles with dating, he's got a promising future career-wise. He finished his undergraduate degree last year and is now enrolled in an online law program. Ethan was homeschooled his entire life and continues his education online, both for college and law school, which brings me to a key point. He's never had a romantic partner, has never gone on a date that led anywhere, remains a virgin, and frankly, doesn't have many friends. His social skills are noticeably underdeveloped. Growing up, his primary interactions were with older family members, parents, grandparents, and their friends. Along with me, a connection made through our families. This sheltered upbringing left him with little in common with people his age, especially women. On top of that, Ethan has always been laser-focused on academics, prioritizing grades above everything else during his formative years. While there's nothing wrong with being studious, he missed out on life experiences that could have shaped him socially. Since 2021, Ethan's family has tried setting him up with several women, hoping to spark a connection, but every attempt has failed. It's tough to stay supportive when he faces constant rejection, especially since the women consistently share similar criticisms about him. Ethan is about 5 feet 2 inches tall, very slight in build, and starting to lose his hair. Physically, he's frail. He struggles to carry light loads like a shopping bag. I hate to sound harsh, but objectively, his physique resembles that of a young girl, and his thinning hair doesn't help. While height and hair loss aren't entirely in his control, I've suggested he could work on his physical strength to project a more masculine presence. I brought this up casually, inviting him to join me at the gym as a fun activity or just to hang out. He's declined repeatedly, and the one time he came, he couldn't manage a 10-pound weight and gave up. Ethan's fashion sense screams retiree. He wears tucked-in shirts, dress slacks, and formal shoes daily, even on casual outings. I've asked why he doesn't opt for relaxed attire like joggers, a hoodie, or sneakers to feel more approachable. He insists there's nothing wrong with his style, claiming it's professional for his future as a lawyer. I pointed out that lawyers wear suits only for work, not flannel button-ups tucked into slacks every day, but he brushed it off. Then it dawned on me, his personality, or lack thereof, is the real issue. I'm not trying to tear him down, but Ethan's charisma is non-existent. I've witnessed how he interacts with women on dates, and it's painful. He barely speaks, lacks humor, and has no spark. On double dates or solo outings, he's practically silent, creating awkward tension. The women he meets make an effort, but his lack of confidence and inability to engage kills any chance of connection. I've arranged dates for him, but they fizzle out because he's so reserved. His conversations revolve around school, and if that topic dries up, he has nothing else to offer. He references outdated topics or things only older generations care about, which doesn't resonate with women his age. He also seems overly cautious in public. When we go out, he flinches when people pass by and avoids risky activities like concerts, bars, or amusement parks, calling them too wild. His constant complaints about rejection, bitterness toward women, and claims that they only want players or tall, attractive guys finally pushed me to be blunt. I told him his lack of success stems from being, frankly, a nerd with no appeal. I clarified that I don't care about his quirks since I'm not dating him, but women want excitement, fun, or at least someone they can connect with. I explained that his refusal to improve his appearance or develop an engaging personality makes him unappealing. He needs to offer something beyond academic achievements to stand out. Ethan reacted poorly, accusing me of mocking him and holding his sheltered upbringing against him. I countered that I wasn't blaming him for his past, but urging him to take control of his present. I stressed that everyone has flaws, but ignoring advice and expecting acceptance without effort is unrealistic. I pointed out that being a future lawyer isn't enough to create attraction. There are countless lawyers out there, and he needs personality to compete. He lashed out, claiming I'm jealous of his academic success, and that women who reject him aren't good enough for him. He argued they should value his potential and good guy status. After that, I stopped talking to him, unwilling to stay friends with someone who dismisses constructive criticism and accuses me of envy. My dad thinks I'm right, but suggests Ethan's reaction stems from insecurity, and I should apologize for being too harsh. I disagree. His refusal to acknowledge his flaws and tendency to blame others feels toxic. Could Ethan be autistic? I've wondered this for years, especially since mental disabilities run in his family. His brother had Down syndrome and passed away. However, unlike some autistic people who recognize their social differences and adapt with guidance, Ethan denies any issues. Even autistic individuals I've met have more personality than he does, so I'm unsure if that's the case. Comment 1, NTA. Like you said, it's not about his past, it's his refusal to improve. The gym isn't just about fitness. It's a chance to socialize. He could try a painting class, yoga, or anything to practice talking to people before dating. Ops reply. I've tried introducing him to my friends to build a social circle, but he doesn't click with them. He can't hold a conversation or crack a joke to break the ice. He also thinks they're reckless for partying or drinking occasionally, despite them being in their mid-20s. I don't get why he's so judgmental about normal behavior. Comment 2, NTA, but suggesting activities he dislikes like bars or concerts isn't helpful. Encourage him to find a hobby he enjoys. That gives him something to talk about and a group to connect with, which is great for someone who struggles with conversation. Ops reply. I've tried suggesting hobbies like cars, sports, or even gaming, but he's uninterested unless it's serious and study-related. His life revolves around school and family, and he dismisses anything fun as frivolous. What does Ethan talk about? He's into niche topics like historical wars, Viking history, or obscure facts. He watches only news, reads physical newspapers. I didn't know those still existed, and talks about work or school. He enjoys bingo and connects best with older people. While I don't mind his interests, they don't align with the women he pursues. He wants outgoing, stunning women who are also virgins with saintly demeanor. But when they don't share his interests or exist as he imagines, he gets bitter and complains they're shallow. Update, I reached out to Ethan to apologize for my harsh tone, explaining I was frustrated because I wanted to help him navigate dating. I emphasized that I care about him and wasn't trying to hurt him. He rejected my apology, called me a future failure because I'm in a different field, and insisted I'm jealous of his academic path. He demanded utmost respect as a future lawyer and said my lack of it means we can't be friends. He even warned me to watch out because his future legal power could land me in trouble. I clarified that jealousy wasn't my motive, but I accepted his decision to end the friendship. At least I tried. Additional clarifications. Yes, Ethan is 52 and very frail. I'm not exaggerating his physical description. He studied online at a university in Florida and is now in an online law program. I won't name it for privacy. His parents' overprotectiveness, fearing things like school shootings, kept him homebound his whole life. His family is religious, as is mine, but that hasn't limited others I know from growing socially. Ethan isn't diagnosed with autism, but his lack of social awareness suggests it. I hesitate to label him without confirmation. I warned him that poor communication skills could hinder his legal career, regardless of dating. He dismissed me, claiming his degree guarantees success. I explained that law requires persuasion and charisma, but he accused me of jealousy again. Our friendship is over. I was his only friend, and while I wish him well, I fear reality will hit him hard. He's not a bad person, just disconnected from the real world. Next story. My wife claimed she took the bus home from work, but my security camera caught her exiting another man's car. When confronted, her story kept changing until she admitted it was a male colleague. A few months ago, I installed a front door camera for safety after a neighborhood shooting, not to monitor my wife. Last week, she mentioned coming home via public transit, her usual mode of transport, sometimes supplemented by rideshares for late nights. I thought nothing of it until I checked the camera footage the next day while looking for a package delivery. The video showed her arriving, pausing to smile and wave at a car pulling away, then entering the house. It clearly looked like someone had dropped her off. I casually asked if she'd taken a rideshare the previous night. She insisted it was the bus. When I mentioned the footage, she pivoted, saying it might have been a rideshare she forgot about. Sensing inconsistency, I jokingly asked if she always waves at rideshare drivers as they wait for her to enter. She hesitated, then admitted it was a male colleague she'd mentioned before who drove her home after a late shift. Her shifting explanations unsettled me. Her story went from bus to possible rideshare to coworker. I asked if this was the first time he'd driven her, and she said yes. I pointed out how odd it was to forget a new experience like that. She got defensive, accusing me of implying she's dishonest and claiming exhaustion caused the mix-up. I tried to accept her explanation, but it felt off. I checked the camera footage from the past week and found she'd been dropped off by the same car multiple times. Digging into the month's recordings, they reset monthly. I saw this happen 2-3 times weekly, with the same car also picking her up some mornings when I left early for work. I confronted her again, citing the frequent drop-offs. She seemed stunned, then downplayed it as just a coworker and accused me of overreacting. I explained that her secrecy, not the rides themselves, was the issue. Why hide something innocent? She deflected, calling my footage checks obsessive. After a long argument, she admitted it was weird not to mention it but insisted it was nothing. I asked directly if she had a romantic or inappropriate relationship with this coworker. She denied it, calling me irrational. We have an open phone policy, which I'd never used until now. I checked her phone and found no suspicious messages with the coworker. Still, her lies, evasiveness, and defensiveness eroded my trust. Notably, since our first confrontation, the coworker stopped dropping her off or picking her up for the camera. This suggests she tipped him off about my suspicions, possibly meeting elsewhere to avoid detection. I'm struggling to let this go. Outside this incident, I haven't noticed typical infidelity signs. She's not secretive with her phone, hasn't grown distant, and our dynamic hasn't shifted despite our busy lives with demanding jobs and 2 young kids, ages 3 and 1. Yet her behavior around this feels deceptive. I can't discuss this with friends without making her look bad, so I'm seeking anonymous perspectives on whether my suspicions are justified or if I'm being paranoid. Update 1. This morning, my wife had a later start, which isn't unusual. After dropping our kids at daycare, I returned home and parked up the street to stay discreet. When she left, she walked to the main road where she usually catches the bus. I followed at a distance and saw her enter the same coworker's car, parked out of our camera's view. This crushed my hope that she'd ended these rides after our talk. Her deliberate effort to meet him out of sight confirms she's hiding their interactions. A faithful spouse wouldn't need to do this. I'm devastated and furious but won't confront her yet. I've decided to hire a private investigator to uncover the full extent of their relationship before proceeding. Update 2. I confirmed the affair. I waited outside her workplace and saw her leave at 12:30 p.m. with a coworker. They grabbed food across the street, drove to a nearby park, and stayed in his car, eating, laughing, and making out, not just kissing, but passionately like teenagers. I recorded it. They returned to work afterward. I don't know how I restrained myself from confronting them. The thought of losing my kids likely stopped me. I'm home now, grappling with devastation and a deep sense of loss for our family, our kids' stability, and my self-worth. I've never felt this hopeless. For my children's sake, I'll stay composed and move forward. I'm contacting divorce attorneys for consultations and won't confront my wife until I have legal guidance. The overwhelming support and responses to my posts are appreciated, but processing this betrayal while reading comments is too much. I'm relying on legal advice to navigate what's next. Thank you for the support.